Here we go. Stand by. Hot.
All right, welcome to the show, World Soccer Radio on the Sports Byline USA Radio Network. I'm Nick Geber along with Danny Page.
Yeah.
It is, it's Monday, isn't it, Danny?
It is Monday. No case of the Mondays, though, Nick, as we get a chance now to look ahead to upcoming midweek Barclays Premier League action. I, for one, am rather excited.
Yeah, no, it is great because, quite frankly, the weekend and the FA Cup was all a little bit disappointing to me just because wasn't a lot to it, really, was there?
Yeah, no, it was a little bit slow. There weren't the big matches that we always anticipate each weekend in the league, but there are big matches this week, Nick.
Yeah, we're going to get to, actually, we're going to specifically talk about tomorrow's matches because we don't want to give Wednesday away with our great predictions. But we're going to talk about what's coming up tomorrow in the Premier League. We're, of course, going to talk about what's next for Man United as the situation at Old Trafford continues to unfold in light of the Juan Mata signing. We're going to talk about some other targets that they're looking at. Also, let's talk about Mohamed Salah, the new player going to Chelsea. There's a little bit of controversy about this guy. We're going to tell you what that is all about. Also, Paolo Di Canio. I mean, what's going on there? He's going to get sued by Sunderland. Can't wait to talk about that one. Of course, we'll talk FA Cup. We'll look at tomorrow. We got so much to get to, Danny.
Yeah, it's a big show today. Not as much looking back, Nick, because you're right. The weekend FA Cup ties were a little bit dry. We will instead look forward, onward and upward on this Monday show.
Absolutely. By the way, big hello to our men and women in uniform listening on American Forces. A pleasure and a privilege to be speaking to you each and every weeknight at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, if you're listening on one of the affiliate stations of the Sports Byline USA Network, you know you're in the right place. iHeartRadio, iTunes, Watch WSR, World Soccer Talk, YouTube. Danny, we're everywhere that you want to be. And by the way, I'd like to say hello to Jenny Agutter. Having a little more discussions with Jenny and her nephew. She's involved in cystic fibrosis. We're going to be talking about that going on as we have a new favorite regular actress now that we're going to follow on the show. By the way, did you see the Grammys yesterday? Oh, we have to chime in a little bit about that, don't we, Danny?
Oh, man. There are actresses that you follow on the show. They just don't know, Nick. That's what scares me.
All right. World Soccer Radio, 800-878-PLAY, 800-878-PLAY. Find us on Twitter at World Soccer Radio. That's at World Soccer Radio. Of course, we're on Facebook as well, facebook.com/World Soccer Radio. Does anyone use Facebook anymore, Danny, or is it becoming passé?
Oh, no. It's still massive, Nick, just like the Grammys.
All right. Okay, we'll be right back after this on World Soccer Radio. What a snooze fest that was, the Grammys. All right, we'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the show. World Soccer Radio, Sports Byline USA, Radio Network. Nick Eber and Danny Page with you. If you're not watching on YouTube. We don't do Ustream anymore, Danny. We've developed beyond that.
YouTube.
If you're not watching on YouTube, I just stood up, showed my large body to the camera, and you could see the special shirt I'm wearing. It says, "Caution, Chelsea players diving."
Yeah, I know that's a shirt that you used to have from different
From the first
eras
Mourinho era,
of broadcasting. Yeah, from the first Mourinho stint. And first of all, let me say, it's amazing that shirt still fits you. That's one.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
two, do you think that the Chelsea team of that era is the same? They don't seem to me to be as the biggest diving issue in the Barclays Premier League. Either.
No, they're really not. And back then, Robben was the big diver. Arjen Robben. Yeah. You remember that?
Yeah, Arjen Robben. He's off.
Right. And I used to have a T-shirt that said ambulance for Robben, and it had like a little, anyway, whatever. All right, Danny, let's get off that because, believe it or not, today we are not really going to be talking that much about Chelsea Football Club. We're going to continue our discussion, and an interesting one it is, about what's going on at Man United because they signed Juan Mata. It's a good deal. And listen, Danny, I am surprised the amount of naysayers out there about this deal. And I think we have to put.
What are the naysayers naying? What are the issues that you're hearing on your end?
Well, they're saying that he's not the player that they needed. He's
please.
He's not big enough. He doesn't have this constitution for that sort of team. That he's going to force them into narrow play when they're really a wide team. And look, there is, Danny, some kernel of truth about all of that. But I've always said if you bring a player of true quality to a team, he will elevate all of those around him. And yes, they may have to change slightly the style that they play, but he is a very creative player, and that is one thing they are sorely missing at Man United, particularly with Van Persie injured, with Rooney out, although I think he's getting ready to come back. They need that badly. So I don't see this as a bad signing. I think if you're a United fan, you should, and most are, thrilled about this. I think the people that are saying that's not the right signing are possibly Chelsea supporters trying to justify how somehow, Mourinho wasn't really helping United out with this great deal that he did for them.
Well, I think we're going to learn very quickly.
Not that that's what he was trying to do, by the way. Not that that's what he was trying to help himself out, right, first and foremost.
I think we're going to learn very quickly how successful this deal will be. And in my mind, the answer will be very successful.
Yeah,
First of all, David Moyes seems like something of a cautious manager sometimes. If Juan Mata does not just go out and start, that is absolutely ridiculous. He needs to be in the starting team tomorrow.
Yep.
He needs to play with Van Persie and Rooney from the outset. Both are fit. Are they fit for 90? I can't answer that question. Moyes can only answer that question. But if so, he needs all hands on deck, and he needs them now.
Well, that's right. And, of course, what a fantastic match to bring everybody in. They're at Old Trafford. They're against Cardiff. Hopefully they'll have, from a United perspective, I say hopefully. For everyone else, it's not hopefully. We're hoping the opposite. But for them, from their perspective, it's a good match to bed the new players in. Maybe bring Rooney back. Have a great run. Cardiff aren't these days really showing much of anything. Let's be honest, and be a great opportunity for them. So we'll have to wait and see. Of course, this is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer coming home, the prodigal son. Returning, the super sub himself will be coming in as the new manager, and Cardiff struggling. This is almost made for order for Man United.
It is. I'm not sure if he's necessarily coming home because his home is probably a city in Norway that is about 17 letters long, 15 of which are consonants.
Yeah, no. It's a Viking longboat. Okay, yeah, while he's in there with his helmet with the horns. And his 3 wives and whatever else he has. Good
if he showed up in a match? What if he showed up in a match with like a Viking helmet on?
I'd like it even more.
That would be my hero. They have to start tomorrow. I think one of the problems for United, and again, I think it's a testament to what a really dull weekend it was on the field in world football. That
it was.
The big story from last Wednesday, Thursday is still the top story as we move toward this week. United obviously disappointed today, though, losing out on Johan Cabaye, who PSG and Newcastle have agreed in principle to his sale. Sorry.
Right. No,
Which
no,
guy?
you're absolutely right, Danny. And this is where we were going with this. Look, they've had a number of targets. There was Johan Gabay, there was Luke Shaw, and there was the two Germans, Royce and Cruz, which I think are Royce Cruz. You can get that at the Alpine Village. I think it's a sandwich. But there's Royce Cruz. It's got sauerkraut on it. But neither one of those are coming to Old Trafford, at least not in the January window. Southampton have come out very firmly. And by the way, credit to Kathleen Lieber, who everyone said was firing Nicola Cortese just so that she could take over the team and sell the assets and sell the team. Here, she's had a great offer for Luke Shaw. She absolutely won't take it. And that's fantastic, I think.
Well, you know
Pochettino.
why she won't take it, Nick, is because she knows she's going to get more in the summer.
And she might get more in the summer, but this is what they need at Southampton. They are in nice position. If they start selling their assets off right now, it could be potentially disastrous for them. So, this is another sign they're not going to get Luke Shaw. They're not going to get the Cruz-Royce connection with the sauerkraut. They're not going to get Johan Kebab. You see where we're going with the food thing. It's almost dinner time.
When he goes to PSG, you're just going to really miss saying Johan Kebab.
I am, absolutely. So they're not going to get those players. So, it is very possible that that Mata could be, the signing of January for them. But it's still a great signing. Is it enough? I don't know, Danny. I look around. Everton had a massive injury to Oviedo, a broken leg. He's been a critical player for them. Liverpool is suffering some injuries and looking a little thin, and they've lost out on their transfer targets. I'm telling you, I've been saying this for the last 10 days or so, Danny, 2 weeks. I actually think Tottenham, for me, are right now in pole position for that fourth spot in the Champions League, only because they're playing so well. They've come into a hot streak, and they've left their problems behind. Do United have enough to catch up? It's really 50-50, Danny.
Well, I think that United should catch up a little bit this week. They're at least in regards to Tottenham. If you see Tottenham as the real contenders,
well, because they're not going to beat City. Well, I think
they might. I just don't see. They could. I just
City
don't see it.
City didn't have a great weekend. I mean, they won 4-2, Danny, but it was close for a while, right?
Yes, but then again, that is the way that United would win championships and trophies over the last half decade, especially.
That's absolutely that's a great point.
Sometimes, if this had been United coming from 2-0 down in the FA Cup, we would have hailed their heroes instead of, or at least the media would have hailed their heroes instead of saying, well, maybe they're not that good. So, but I think United will pick up 3 points on Tottenham this week, and then they're only 3 points back. They're right in the thick of it.
Yeah, no, they are. The question is, Liverpool-Everton, is it going to end a draw? But we'll get to that next segment when we start talking about our matches, or maybe we'll do that the last segment because we're not going to do all the matches. We're only going to do tomorrow's matches.
I mean, if that ends in a draw, then you're talking about, you're talking about the farthest distance, and United could win. The farthest away they are from anyone is 4 points in the race for the champion.
It is really, really exciting. I mean, the relegation race, the title race, and the race for the Champions League spots, I think, are terrific. But it's been really interesting. I mean, seeing what's happened so far in the January window. And remember, Friday, it slammed shut. No more moves after Friday. I actually think United, as we said earlier, have done the business they're going to do. I think they do want Luke Shaw. I don't think they're going to get him. They do want the Kroos connection. They're not going to get him right now. And then certainly not going to get Kebab because he's off to PSG to sit in his Kebab.
I think they're going to sign someone else. I think they have one more signing in there.
Who is it, though? Is it a big impact signing, or is it just another little sprinkle of somebody?
Listen, if this was, 12 days ago, we would have looked and said, who are they going to sign? No one. They're being aggressive.
Yeah.
They are willing to spend the money. They are making quick work of their deals. It might be someone we're not even talking about that comes out of nowhere in these next few days. So I really like the way that they've done business during this last week now, and I'm excited to I'm really excited to see what they do here for United, because I will be honest, a stronger United makes for a more interesting and competitive English game.
I can do without it.
I probably could as well. But no less, a stronger United makes for a more interesting league.
Yeah, that's true, Danny. But we have tried to be objective in our discussions. We can say how much we dislike them, but I do. But we have to be able to look at it objectively, which I think we are doing. And I think United fans should be looking themselves in the mirror, much like Arsenal fans were after that loss to Villa. Actually, let's talk about that when we come back, Danny, shall we? World Soccer
Yes,
Radio,
absolutely.
Sports Byline USA. We'll be right back after this. Nick Eber and Danny Page with you each and every weeknight from 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't go anywhere. All right. Well, we are back. World Soccer Radio, Nick and Danny. All right. I love
All
that.
right.
So the Grammys, what a snooze fest, Danny. I tell you, you know what's amazing to me about the Grammy Awards?
What's amazing to you, Nick?
Is that, artists from Snoop Dogg to The Who to, Public Enemy to, you name it, have never even been nominated for a Grammy Award. And, it's just all this mainstream rubbish that's just so safe, never pushes any edge. And I'm not saying it's old music or new music. I'm not even saying it has to just be rock music or what have you. I'm just saying it's just all so dull to me.
Yeah, it's really brutal, especially for someone like myself who's involved in music, and involved in dance music. It's interesting to see an act like Daft Punk go out and win like that because everyone certainly respects the way they produce and what they do, but I don't know. It just, yeah, I personally was rooting for Taylor Swift. Okay, I'm joking, but yeah, a lot of the award shows are pretty dull. I think that's why people really enjoy the Golden Globes, is because the Golden Globes puts together a show much like ours that is a little offbeat and a little bit more witty and more relaxed than some of those other stuffy talk shows. Wow, that was an analogy.
My problem with it with the Grammys is quite honestly that its music is supposed to be edgy and supposed to push the boundaries and the music industry, they're just the biggest amount of boring, stuffy, no imagination people. They find the formula that they work and they flog it to death. And if elevator music was selling records, believe me, that's what would be winning Grammy Awards. And,
Well, I think
it's
part
just
of
so
it, though,
dull. So
I
dull.
think part of it, though, Nick, is that's that's why people were rooting for Lorde last night,
Right.
and for a 17-year-old girl like that to win that award. That's why everyone feels Kendrick Lamar should have won instead of Macklemore and Ryan Lewis, including Macklemore himself. So people are certainly rooting for the true musicians, and they aren't always rewarded.
Anyway, enough of that. If you followed me online yesterday, I was having quite a rant at it, but that's just.
You're always having quite a go.
I do. I enjoy it. Let's get back to football, though, because there are so many topics. We were talking about Man United. By the way, I'd like to give a big shout out on Twitter to DMAC, who is he is at KC1010IB. And he's got a big Sacramento Republic FC logo on his Twitter handle, on his Twitter picture there, Danny. So he's really into USL Pro, Sacramento Republic coming to
Very
his
nice.
town. And we wish Sacramento Republic, a brand new expansion team up there in USL Pro, all the best. And if you're not following lower division American soccer, you are actually doing yourself a real disservice, Danny, because it's pretty fun.
My buddy Rodrigo Lopez is their first signing, and excited to see what they do upcoming here in the next couple months.
Yep. It's coming right up, right? March or April, I think, right? End of March. Yeah, so exciting stuff. Anyhow, let's get back to it because we talked a little bit about Man United, but there is a signing that Chelsea have just made, a gentleman who Liverpool were desperate to get, and his name is Mohamed Salah. He comes from Basel. By the way, I just want to preface this. I have nothing political. Everyone that knows me knows I'm Jewish, okay? And so are you, Danny. There's nothing political about what I'm saying here because actually I think this sounds like a nice kid, and I think it's just an example of how politics can sort of intervene with these guys. But he is an Egyptian international. He's sort of the poster child of Egyptian football. He was at Basel. When he was at Basel, all of a sudden they got an enormous amount of new Egyptian fans, which is great for them, by the way, and wonderful. We want to open football up everywhere, right, Danny?
Yeah, that's why we're having the World Cup in Qatar.
That's true, in 2022, right? We're going to, it's lovely. But he was put under an awful lot of pressure by certain political elements in Egypt, which put him in an awkward position when Basel played Hapoel Tel Aviv, which is an Israeli team, in the Europa League, to such a point that he was told by no uncertain terms by certain groups that he was not to be shaking hands with any of the Israeli players. Now, what this kid, and this is a young kid, okay, so let's put this out there. This is a very young kid. He's 20-something. I mean, he's a young guy. So what he did is he did a fist pump, with the players. He didn't want. So now, for me, Danny, I understand that. That's not a political problem for me. But he is going to a team, Chelsea, that is owned by a Jew who happens to be a big supporter of Israel in Roman Abramovich. I'll be interested to see how this is going to unfold. I just hope that this young man does not become a pawn in a big political game.
Yeah, he may well, though. I just wonder. I think you brought up the key element to consider here and remind ourselves of is this is a very young player.
Yeah.
21 years old, hasn't been on this type of stage before, although he has played in the Champions League, obviously, has played at Old Trafford. This is a whole different ballgame. This is a entirely different type of football and type of media coverage here. And it's going to be very interesting to see how he responds. It'll be very interesting to see how he will be included in the team from the outset if Mourinho just sort of lets him loose and lets us all see what he can do. Here's a situation where, obviously we have our own. I think you made the disclaimer statement for us, Nick, with us both being Jews, obviously, right. and so we're going to be a little bit more skeptical than others just by nature and heritage. But I'm willing to give this young man a chance in the league when he comes, to the Barclays Premier League to play for Chelsea. Let's see if he if he ever repeats an act like this, he's in my doghouse. But let's give him a chance.
But not my doghouse, Danny. Not my doghouse.
If he repeats it,
no,
if he does this again,
not my doghouse. Let me tell you something. That moron Nicholas Anelka is in my doghouse, who claims he doesn't know what a quenelle was. I mean, it's like going to see Andrew Dice Clay and expecting Disney stories. I mean, if you're friends with a comedian that is a anti-Semite and a racist, you know that when you go. I mean, so Nicholas Anelka is a moron. This kid is just a kid, and the fact that he felt that he had to do some gesture to the Israeli players, that he gave them a fist pump, I don't know. The kid gets. I'm all right with this kid.
Do you think it's a little bit too much sort of racial sensitivity?
Yeah, absolutely. No. I think he's under a lot of pressure from some of the elements back home, and I'm sorry to hear that. I hope he can come to England and thrive. That's all I would love to see.
I agree with you about being under pressure from the elements back home a little bit. What kind of player do you think he can be?
I hear he's a real talent. So much.
He was solid against Chelsea in those Champions League ties.
And he scored against United at Old Trafford, I want to say, right?
Right, that was a while ago.
Yeah, a while ago. So, I mean, it'd be great, interesting to see him. I think he's a great addition to Chelsea. And honestly, I would have loved to have seen him at Liverpool. I'm sorry that we lost out to him, but that's the difference between a team that's, for sure going to be in the Champions League year in and year out, and one that you're not quite so sure about that.
If there's, if you can buy a player for, what was it, 19 or 20 million, sell him for 37, and then buy his replacement for 12.
It's pretty. It's good business.
You did some very good business in this window, and again, Roman Abramovich does have incredibly deep pockets, but because of financial fair play,
that's right.
Good business is now the name of the game.
Yeah, interesting stuff. All right, well, let's move on to the next story. And this one I even wrote a title for, Danny. Di Canio, no. He said, what? So apparently Paolo Di Canio is about to be sued by Sunderland. And I'm just going to give you some of the quotes that he recently said about his former players. You're going to love this stuff. Here we go. So
some of these are pretty amazing.
Talking about a couple of players that have been rehabilitated under Gus Poyet, most notably Lee Cattermole and Phil Bardsley, John O'Shea. So this is what he had to say. Di Canio said, quote, those two players, he's talking about Cattermole and Bardsley. Now, this is a quote, guys, okay, were rotten. The most unprofessional players I've ever worked with. What Bardsley has done in the last year speaks volumes. Photos of him lying on the floor in a casino covered by 50-pound notes and laughing at the team losing on the opening day, that's public. It's no surprise these players were kicked out of my plans. The reason Sunderland stayed up at the end of last season was because Cattermole was injured and Bardsley played very little. Di Canio believed Sunderland are embroiled in another relegation battle because they're, quote, weak. Listen to this quote now, talking about John O'Shea, the captain. I don't like people who, when they speak to you, don't look into your eyes. He said, the 45-year-old Italian now believes it's his destiny to manage West Ham. O'Shea should say sorry to some of his teammates for the many times he came into my office to say something unfavorable about them. This is the same person that also came to me when I first took over and said things about Martin O'Neill. I don't like people fooling around when we're having a serious discussion about strategy. I don't like people who laugh when they keep missing the goal in training or miss a tackle that leads to conceding a goal. And then he says, on my phone, I have 14 text messages from players at the club supporting me. Why is he even talking, Danny?
Because that's just his nature. When you hire a fiery player like this, you should know what you're going to get. He is, to me, the real sole reason why Sunderland is in the position where they are. And I suppose that it was a big gamble from Ellis Short. Ellis Short went and he put $5,000 on red, and he lost. The ball landed on a black number.
No, that's true.
And Gus Poyet is strong enough with a good enough team to, bring this team back out of the doldrums a little bit. They're now onto a cup final. They are, I believe, still in the relegation spot, but it's only by a point. There have always been problems with Di Canio. He's always been this type of individual.
Yeah, he's a complete knob. I mean, this is a guy who was throwing Nazi salutes at from Lazio. I mean, this is a guy that has his own skeletons in his own closet that was given a big pass when he came to the club. People were prepared to look beyond the fascist salute. By the way, this wasn't a Quinnell he gave. But this was a Zeke Heil. This was a Nazi salute he gave.
Yeah.
People were prepared to look beyond that and give him a shot at Sunderland. He did pretty damn badly. I don't know how else to say it. I mean, he was not a good manager. He lost the dressing room, and now he's been fired, and he's sitting here spouting off. Danny, the League Managers Association needs to give him a call and tell him to shut his gob.
Yeah, really, absolutely. I wonder, he says it's his destiny to be hired. I'm not sure if he ever will. Let me just close with this.
I wouldn't hire him.
let me close with this. He played for 9 clubs, 10 stints in his career. Anyone who moves around that much as a player, there are problems.
Yeah,
there are problems with that individual. That statistic alone is enough for me. He's a sad person in my mind.
He's angry man.
I really pity him in some ways. So
good for you, Danny. I do too. All right, World Soccer Radio.
I pity you too.
And I need it. World Soccer Radio, Sports Byline USA, Nick and Danny. We're going to take a break and be right back. All right, 800-878-PLAY, 800-878-PLAY. World Soccer Radio, Sports Byline USA, Nick and Danny.
And just so everyone knows, that's not your home number, okay? That is.
I hope not, because then the debt collectors will have it. They've been going straight to voicemail for a while.
That is the studio line.
That is.
Right.
Yeah. So if I owe you money, call that number and tell Scott or Jerry that take a message from me. All right, they won't give it to me.
Right.
All right.
870. What about the Twitter account?
All right, so let's do it. Hey, by the way, big hello to we love DMAC. We love anyone on Twitter that's going to communicate with us and wants to be a part of the show. We got Ed Hart, Idaho United. We got DMAC. Yeah. We got a whole bunch of regulars. And we love you all because participation in this show is what makes it work. Danny,
it's kind of like we're like your virtual local pub, just without the booze. Just a bunch of guys sitting around talking football.
Danny, but if they watch on YouTube, they can just sit back and drink us in.
Oh my gosh. I'm giving you my 2 weeks after that comment, I think.
All right.
Here's the thing about this. Speaking of pubs, here's the thing that I enjoy about this week's, about the midweek league action, is that you can go somewhere during a decent hour during the week because the games don't kick off till 11:45 or noon on the West Coast, and you can watch a match and have a beer and not feel weird about it. You know,
I'm going to drink tomorrow during the games, and I will be drunk on the show tomorrow.
Yeah, no, that drunk off your peach tea. But you know what I'm saying? These midweek games are nice because it just fits more into the way the game was meant to be watched. Yeah. With the exception of on the West Coast, we're watching games here at 7 in the morning. Yeah, 8 in the morning. Come on.
I'm with you. So let's get to it, Danny, shall we? Let's go to Old Trafford first. We talked about this. Man United are going to host Cardiff. Look, it's disappointing FA Cup for Man United. They're being knocked out by Sunderland. Pardon me. What am I talking about?
Swansea?
Yes, thank you.
All right.
Very disappointing. In the Capital One Cup was a semi-final loss. This is where I'm going with this. I'm not thinking straight. Yes, so very disappointed about that for them, obviously. But, the signing of Mata will reinvigorate them, will give them a new lease on life. And by the way, we talked about this a couple segments ago. United fans who were calling Moyes out and everything else and all this nonsense.
And they still are.
I know, but, go back to the Wenger out people at the beginning of the year. They lost at home to Aston Villa, and it's been all rosy since then. And the fact is, if you want Moyes out because you didn't like what's happened at Man United in this transitional year, you're an idiot. You're a complete fool. If you really think the Glazers and the board of directors, which, by the way, includes Sir Alex Ferguson, are not going to make it right and help David Moyes get the right players in and give them the resources, you're smoking crack. That's a multi-billion-dollar company. Of course they're going to make it work. So here we go. First step, I think things are looking up. I like Man United for this at home. I'm going to say they're going to come back with a bang. I'm saying 3-1 United.
Yeah, I like 3-0. The bottom team in the table goes to, what are they, 7th at this point? Yeah. Nonetheless, they go to take on, the Red Devils with a new signing. I like a big win for United, and I will be watching the first 15 minutes of this game before switching over to the Merseyside Derby.
Yeah, of course, that's the big one. Let's go to the next one, though. Carrow Road, it's Norwich against Newcastle. Danny, Newcastle sold Johan Kabay. He is a very important part of this team.
Hey, did you see I'm sorry, real quick. Did you see the joke that somebody made on Twitter the other day that said, Chelsea selling a player to their rivals. United refused to sell a player to their rivals. Looks like Wayne Rooney isn't going to Norwich and Newcastle.
I know. I saw that. Was pretty funny. Yeah. It won't be that way for much longer.
This is a real, how do you say it? It's a banana skin for Newcastle.
Yeah, it really
Fans
is.
are going to be really unhappy. I doubt very few will travel to East Anglia for this match at Carrow Road. I like a draw in this game, 1-1. Norwich can certainly better their league position and take advantage of a team that's probably going to be a little bit dispirited, don't you think?
Well, not just that, Danny. If we look at current form, Newcastle have actually lost 3 of the last 4 matches. They beat West Ham, I want to say 3-1 the last match away. But before then, they lost to Man City 2-0. They lost 1-0 to West Brom. And they also lost to Arsenal. Now, I know Arsenal City are 2 big clubs. The loss to West Brom doesn't sit well. This is a banana skin, and you have to say that Norwich are coming off their victory against Hull, which is, for a team like Norwich, it's no easy feat. They were right there in the league together, right?
Yeah.
You're right. I like Norwich for this one, so we just move on with this one. I like Norwich 1-0 for this one.
Newcastle, I'm going to move over and go with you, 1-0 Norwich. Newcastle have won 6 of their away games. They've lost the other 5. No draws on this match.
Well, Danny, the next match is a real potential banana skin as the team at the top of the table, Arsenal, go to visit a very, very, very good Southampton team. Loads of English talent. There's a lot of similarities in the way these 2 teams play. We're going to see a lot of these heralded young English players playing so well at Southampton under Pochettino with a new lease on life. The fact that Luke Shaw hasn't been sold and Catherine Liebherr seems to be living up to what she said. I think this is a real banana skin at St. Mary's for Arsenal, Danny. And I'm going to go on a limb here. I'm going to say this is a draw, 1-1.
Wow. I say it every week. Will it be Arsenal's final week at the top of the table? Because again, I have a feeling that they're going to relinquish first and never get it back.
Possibly.
I'm going to say that they will survive this. They will win 2-1 at Southampton. But let me tell you something, Nick. They go to the South Coast. They go to St. Mary's tomorrow. Then they host Crystal Palace. Then their fixtures are as follows. Liverpool in the league United in the league, Liverpool in the FA Cup, Bayern Munich in the Champions League, Sunderland and Stoke, Swansea, but then again after that they play City and Chelsea in March and Bayern Munich once more. So it's only a matter of time in my mind, but I do think they'll win 2-1.
I don't. I think it's going to be a draw. And you know, I love to watch Southampton. They're one of my favorite teams in the Premier League. They've got some incredibly good players there. Really, really good players at Southampton. Lots of really... People say, where are the young English players? And there's nowhere for them to play, and no one sees them.
They're all in the same place.
And, you know, there's a whole boatload of them in Southampton, and they're young, and they're great. And they're a wonderful team to watch, and they're not perfect, don't get me wrong. But this is a great team to watch with a really exciting young manager, Pochettino there. There's a lot to love about Southampton. And I, for one, am thoroughly... They're my favorite team to enjoy right now in the Premier League, to watch them. So I think they'll get a result here. I think they'll get the point at home, which is good on them. Swansea, Fulham, does anybody really care? Fulham just awful, aren't they?
Yeah. What was it, a draw 1-1 against Sheffield Wednesday in the Cup over the weekend? And Muhlenstein is complaining about fixture pileup. Well, yeah, then you go and you beat a League One side if you want to avoid fixture pileup.
But Danny,
it's just ridiculous.
Here's the rub, okay? Here's the rub.
Yeah.
Michael Laudrup is absolutely imploded right now at Swansea.
Second season syndrome. Yeah.
Well, not just that. Do you know when the last time they won a match was?
Mm-mm.
December the 4th, their 3-0 victory against Newcastle. They have currently gone 8 matches without a win. And of those, 5 have been losses. They are the absolute worst team on the form table in the Premier League right now. They are terrible. I think Laudrup is leaving as nice as his hair is. Yes.
Nick, what were they doing on Thursday nights this fall? They were playing Medalist Kharkiv.
Yes, absolutely.
You know?
It's the curse of the Europa League. Yeah, it's like
they were in Tbilisi, Georgia. Okay, they, you know,
Danny. It's like going to the bar, and there's like that supermodel that you go for, but you don't quite get her. But then there's a really nice looking girl, and you get her and you take her home. She gives you herpes. I mean, that's exactly what it is, right? They got a case of herpes. It's called. It's just a good analogy. I like it. It's called the Europa League, Danny. It's a gift that keeps on giving. They will get rid of it eventually when they're out, but they may get relegated.
So
because
your idea and your statement is that the Europa League is the herpes of football tournaments.
It's great, by the way. I love the Europa League, but you got to have depth to play it. These teams that just eke in there, that are sort of the underdogs that squeak in, they're not built for it, and it is really destructive for them. They would be better off playing their youth teams, getting knocked out early, and then staying in the league and having another run at finishing, taking some of that extra money and maybe putting it aside. There's not much money there, by the way.
I'm just going to stay quiet on that one.
All right, let's go. Now, you know about that, Danny, because you frequent those bars quite a lot. Yes.
Liverpool, let's just hope for your sake and everyone else's sake on Merseyside, Nick, that Liverpool don't make the Europa League, given that analogy you just...
All right, let's do Crystal Palace, Hull very quickly. I like Hull, but they've also been in a bit of a poor run of late. Lost to Liverpool, Chelsea, and Norwich. Again, you could say they lose to Liverpool, fine, Chelsea, fine, but then they lose to Norwich. Losing begets losing, Danny. That's kind of the way I look at it. And Crystal Palace... Was
that the Dalai Lama that said that?
It was. Coming off a nice win against Stoke, who are always tough to beat. I'm gonna go on a limb here, Danny. I'm gonna say Crystal Palace for the win. 3 points at home, 1-0.
Really? Interesting. Yeah. I think... that would put them level on points with Hull Tigers, by the way.
Yeah. Let's move on, though.
I'll just go with you on that one. Whatever.
All right, let's go to...
I literally don't care at all.
No, I know. I don't really either. Let's go to Anfield, where the big Merseyside derby, the big match tomorrow. Unfortunately, we've got 3.5 minutes to talk about it. Danny, this is a fascinating match for me. I don't see Liverpool or Everton getting the Champions League spot. We talked about that. And I'll tell you why. They don't have the depth. They've had some injury problems. As good as Suarez,
they don't have a defensive
as good as
Suarez
anymore. That's Suarez and Sturridge.
Suarez.
Yeah, they don't have much of a midfield anymore. We'll have to see what they do.
Losing Lucas Leiva is really a big loss, and we saw that a couple years ago when he was lost to a much more serious cruciate ligament injury.
Time and time again, it's been a problem. Steven Gerrard doesn't quite have the same chops that he used to. However, in this match, it's at Anfield. Oviedo's out with a broken leg. Was being a big part of the Everton squad. I actually like Liverpool for this match, Danny. Suarez rises to the big occasion. So does Sturridge. I think they will win I think it will be 2-1 in favor of the home team, and they will live in fourth spot for another week.
It's midweek. Everyone played FA Cup over the weekend. You're going to hate me for doing this, but I think this will be far more reminiscent of the Merseyside derbies of the past 2 decades than of the Merseyside derby of, say, 3 months ago.
So you're going for a draw?
I'm going for a 0-0 draw with at least one sending off. I just think these teams despise each other quite a bit, and that'll show. I don't know why. Sometimes you just get a feeling, Nick.
Well, also, don't forget Ross Barkley's out as well for Everton.
That's what I'm saying.
Mean, it's a big part.
Everyone has
no, but I mean, but Suarez and Sturridge are still playing for Liverpool.
Swarridge.
I call him Swarridge. Right, Swarridge are playing. So,
well,
that to me is the one that's
all about
tip.
Mamadou Sakho against Lassina Traore.
Well, I hope we see 6'8", Danny's.
Yeah, 6'8".
6'8". I hope we see Lassina Traore. It's a great signing for Everton, and we will see what happens. We were supposed to go to West Ham, and he got signed at the last minute, stolen from underneath their grips, so to speak. I like Liverpool for this. I said this. I like 2-1. I think it's going to be 2-1. It's going to be.
How much of that is you emotionally?
No, this isn't emotion. No Ross Barkley, no Oviedo, but Swarridge will be playing. Swarridge.
If Liverpool and Everton draw, Liverpool's on 44, Everton's on 43. If Tottenham lose to City, they obviously stay on 43. If United win, they will be 4 points behind Liverpool, 3 points behind Spurs, and 3 points behind Everton. They are back with a win tomorrow and a draw in the Merseyside derby. They're back. United are in it.
But if they lose?
Hey, that's not the point I was trying to make here.
I'm going to go pray a little tonight.
Right.
All right, World Soccer Radio, Sports Byline USA. What do you think? Find us on Twitter and let us know at World Soccer Radio. That's at World Soccer Radio. Or you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/World Soccer Radio. Once again, big hello to our men and women in uniform listening on American Forces, as well as if you're listening on one of the affiliate stations of our network, the Sports Byline USA Network. It's a privilege to be with you each and every weeknight from 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We are the only regularly scheduled Monday through Friday nationally syndicated radio show in America that covers the beautiful game. So you be sure to make us a regular part of your week. All right, we're going to head off to break, and we'll be right back to wrap it up here. All right, welcome back. World Soccer Radio, Sports Byline USA, Nick and Danny.
Yeah.
Yeah, so big matches tomorrow. I love this. The big matches tomorrow, big matches Wednesday.
nice.
Then we get a couple of days, and then boom, big matches again over the weekend, Danny.
Yeah,
The
that's
Premier
really
League is
nice.
like herpes. It is that gift that keeps on giving.
Oh man. Oh my goodness, Nick. Yeah, no, it really is nice. And then there's next Monday is, the match that could decide the title, Chelsea and Man City. Obviously,
That'll be a huge one.
as a Yank, I'm really looking forward to the Super Bowl on Sunday as well, too.
Of course,
So-
Super Bowl Sunday. That's another reason I won't be in Vegas over the weekend.
Oh gosh, it's
I
just
won't
the
go
worst,
near that
isn't it?
place over Super Bowl weekend.
It's
Nightmare.
always just the absolute worst.
Yeah, it is.
Ugh.
I was actually there for the NBA All-Star game, which was the biggest mistake of my life. It
When was that?
Sketchy. It was 06, 07, 08,
Yeah,
somewhere
yeah,
around
yeah,
that.
that
It
was-
was
that's not a good
bad. Yeah, terrible. All right, folks. Hope you enjoyed the
Here we
show.
go.
We will be
Live
back
tweeting
with.
tomorrow. We'll
Yeah.
be tweeting live during the games.
That's right. Can't wait. And we will be back with you, of course, tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Same channel for more of the same. Hopefully, a better show, maybe. I don't know, Danny. We'll have more to talk about. But there are some things we didn't get to today, so rest assured we'll get to them tomorrow. But tomorrow, we'll have a couple of really big results. We'll get to see New Look Man United with Juan Mata. We'll get to have a Merseyside derby to talk about. And who can forget, we're going to put aside everything else and spend most of the hour tomorrow talking about the result of the Crystal Palace Hull game. All right,
Absolutely.
just
Every
joking.
minute of the show tomorrow will be dedicated
All right,
to that.
just joking. All right, folks, hope you enjoyed the show. Find us on Facebook, facebook.com/World Soccer Radio, Twitter @World Soccer Radio. Find us on YouTube. Just go to Watch WSR. Want to thank everyone in San Francisco, Scott and Jerry and Darren, of course. Wonderful network, and, of course, the American Forces. It's a pleasure to be there. Coming up next, folks, a true legend of the game. Absolute legend of the broadcasting game. Mr. Ron Barr coming up next right after us. So you be sure to stay tuned. Even though we'll be gone, you need to be here. Listen to one of the best in radio. Until tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Cheers. Have a great evening for me, Nick, and Danny. We will speak to you tomorrow.
All right, guys, have a good night.